Hey everyone, welcome back to Critical African Thinkers. Remember, this is a place where we examine everything under the microscope of logic to ascertain what is most factual and logically consistent. So, today we are going to be talking about what's been in the news for the past couple of days, which is essentially Trump's coup d'etat on Washington, D.C. And in my opinion, I think it's a distraction from something. I mean, it's been a whole lot of distractions lately, um, especially considering the fact that the Epstein's list was very hot for some weeks now. So there's been a lot of things that are coming up to take away attention from the main issue, given the fact that people's attention spans are usually very, very small and limited to a few seconds, a few days, few hours, and something else comes and takes the attention away. So helping me to understand what is going on today is Stanley, my very good friend Stanley, who we show together every Thursday. So obviously Stanley lives in the US, so he has a better understanding and a better insight. So I'm mostly going to be asking questions and just let Stanley explain to me what is going on. First of all, Stanley, how possible is it that no, first of all, what exactly is going on? What is Trump attempting to do, or what has Trump done in Washington, D.C.?
Well, DC is not a state. It is literally a federal territory. So, and I can't remember the the year, but there's a home rule law that allowed Washington D.C. to have a mayor and city council, but there is also a provision that allows for emergencies. So a federal takeover of a federal territory is rather easy to do. And if you went back and read some of Trump's, um, I don't know, administration have come into um some victims of crime. Um, so he just got pissed off. Some former lieutenant of Elon Musk at Doge, and these are bad things. They were out at 3 and got carjacked. The boyfriend or male got beat up, and then there was a congressional staffer who, he got a little beat up. Crime in DC is high. Um, you know, uh, Pretty much what Trump wants is Washington to be Washington D.C. to be crime free, and I understand where he's going. He's had some administration members, um, some congressional staffers, out at 3 o'clock, and they were victims of crime. And I
Mm,
don't mean to say, there are all kinds of ways you can do, but oh, we could do a 5-hour show on this. But bottom line is, no one should ever get carjacked and all that stuff. And you remember, we talked about Derek Bell,
yeah.
CRT. Well, he didn't call it CRT, but there's such a thing as interest convergence. Do you
Mm,
remember the term?
yeah.
So you've got Trump wants to clean up the city, whatever his logic is. And you've also got, parts of DC that need to be cleaned up. So there's an interest convergence.
Mm.
So
So,
crime, is down 30%, but the crime is still too high.
Mm,
So he wants to look like a dictator. Now this is gonna be hyperbolic, but Trump needs to assert his authority to counteract the Epstein stuff, and this city needs to be cleaned up a bit.
mm,
Interest convergence.
yeah. So I get the facts, or I get the point that the city needs to be cleaned up. But now what bothers me is waiting this long for it to be cleaned up in the first place, which correlates with the interest convergence that you're talking about. That he's taking this action now, not specifically because he's so concerned about cleaning up crime in DC, but to
Hmm.
distract something else, right?
Right.
However,
Well, the thing is he had members of his administration attacked.
mm,
Um,
yeah, so that could also be a motivating factor. But before
well,
we
no,
get
it is the motivating factor.
mm,
He had his administration attacked. You got to kind of look at Trump. Um, he thinks this is his city.
mm,
Trump and oh my lord, I have so many thoughts roiling through my head. Um, well, let's start with this. Have you ever heard in this? It is kind of a history thing. You will hear in U.S. history that the United States needs to be run like a corporation.
yeah.
It needs to be run like a business. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what we got is Trump, who happens to be a business owner.
Mm,
So Trump, in and of his own, like, I don't know, psychopathy. Um, I've heard people call him the CEO of the country. So
mm,
he literally sees the country as I'm elected, it's my company. I'm the
mm,
CEO. I can declare emergencies. I can make this country slash company run. And
mm,
if I have to declare an emergency to get around the Constitution, um, I'm going to do it because it is for good.
mm.
So I
So
know it sounds weird, but Trump thinks that he is the savior of the country.
yeah, he's that delusional. So I'm not. It's not
But
surprising.
he look. I don't know that he's that delusional as his voters are. He lost in 2020, yet here he is again. Is it Trump that's delusional, or has he been kind of confirmed,
Yeah,
voted into?
but the fact that his supporters are delusional doesn't mean he cannot be delusional too. It's not. They're not mutually
Understood.
exclusive.
But I think I've mentioned this to you. Trump isn't the problem, his voters are. The people who
Mm,
put him into office are the problem.
yeah, they're both the problem. They are both
No,
problematic.
I'm dead serious. Um, if you look, we went through his first term and voted him out, and then all of a sudden he's back. People who put him into office are the problem.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that. Really hard to disagree with that. But let's touch on the crime issue first of all. So, why is Washington, D.C. so close to the seat of power? Why is it that
Well,
crime
it's
rate?
literally the seat of power. Not
Okay,
close, it is.
the seat of power, right? Why is it? Why is it? Why is there so much crime in a city that houses the most powerful government in the world? What's going on there?
Don't know. Um, it is. surrounded by poverty.
Really?
Yes.
Mm, the nation's
Did
capital.
you
So
did you
poverty?
get to look at the demography?
No.
Okay. Well, it is mostly a black city. I think the demographic, and I didn't send you those articles, but it is a city that has a lot of people. You remember oh, what was his name? From the Discord. Uh Pelu.
Yeah.
Remember Mr.
The
Pelu?
farmers. Yeah. Yeah.
You got a bunch of poor people living there. And it's not the cause, but it is correlation.
Mm. But
And
why?
by the way,
You would think a place like that would be like New York, where they are very influential, where they're
well, New
exclusive
York City
areas.
has a bunch of crime.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm getting at was that you would think a place like that would be much more exclusive. That would be much more wealthy neighborhoods. Crime would be low, being that it's the seat
No.
of power. So how
Well,
did
I
that
think
happen?
Trump wants to make it that way, but let me give you a little bit of history.
Mm,
Back in the day, um, when the White House was first constructed, it was the people's house. You could literally just walk into the White House, and it worked this way from definitely Adams and definitely Jefferson. Don't know so much about George Washington because he didn't live there for very long. But the White House used to be the people's house. You could literally walk in, um, and it would be okay. Where I'm going with this is that um, it's a federal city.
yeah, it's a federal city. That should I make it
But
a black city?
well, no, it's not a black city. It is the people city. And I think I kind of see where you want to go with this. Um,
I don't want to go a particular
black
way.
people there. Um,
I don't want to go a particular way with it. I'm just trying to understand what's happening. If it's the seat of power, and we know who has power in America, it's not black people, it's white people. So how come the seat of power is, populated by black people and
why are they
with the poverty and which correlates with crime? I'm just trying to understand the dynamics. How
well,
come
that's a
one?
rather that's a rather interesting question. Because the history of America is literally um, black people and white people living together. Um,
Mhm,
Black people tend to live around the edges. If you look at the way Washington, D.C. is set up, and it's not so much that it was planned this way, it is how it became to be.
mm,
America's rather weird. Um, Richard Rothstein, we could do a whole year's course on how cities are set up in America. There's a whole, let's go back to how black people literally put the White House together with the labor.
mhm.
And black people didn't live in the White House. They got to go back to the edges of the city. And America hasn't overcome its history. The big cities, um, black people tended to be marginalized. And I'm not even sure why you're asking this question.
You're not sure?
Why is there so no, I'm literally not sure because there's some thing. No, there's some things you don't know about American history.
That's why I'm asking.
So I well, do you think I can explain it in 30 minutes or do you literally need to catch up on
Well,
250
well,
years of
I,
history?
we're talking now, so break it down for me as much as you can.
Okay, I'll try and take 250 years of history and break it down into why big cities in the United States have high crime. Well, it starts with redlining. It starts with the planned. Um, I'm not sure where to start. Um, Marginalized people tend to be pushed away to the edges of any city. You plan where black people live, where white people live. You plan where capital tends to be. I'm a, can you bring up some of these articles? I sent a few of the references. Have you looked at them?
Let me check. Let me check.
Well,
I think
no. My
the one
question is,
for
did you read any of it?
one, the one for the Post, Washington
Okay,
Post.
I'm sorry. I thought you read
Because
some of them.
I couldn't read because I'm not subscribed to the Washington Post, so they needed me to
Well,
subscribe to
I
it.
thought I sent you a gift article, but they weren't all the Washington Post. What? Um,
There were three articles you sent. You sent the one for FBI's data on crime statistics.
well, that was the crime part I wanted to talk about
Yeah. So
because one of the things I wanted to talk about is DC is not the highest crime city.
mm,
Donald Trump literally had some folks in his administration get attacked. And it's literally like, well, if you attack my people, we're going to create an emergency. Um there is the crime rate in DC is too high, but it's also on a downtrend. Um Donald Trump has pretty much decided that, hey, my people got attacked. I People should pay, and he wants to run it like a business. If someone gets attacked on my uh, factory floor, we're gonna ratchet this down, and I'm gonna find the people who did it. Part of the
yeah,
problem is the president. He wants to run DC like a company, and he wants to run the country like a company.
mm.
If
So
you want to talk about why there's high crime in big cities, you literally need to start with Richard Rothstein, um, Great Migration.
mm,
So I guess what we need to do is isolate it to DC. Donald Trump doesn't understand the history of DC. Crime rates on coming down. His people get attacked, and all of a sudden there's a vendetta. And the funny part is in one of those articles I sent you, might have
mm.
been the NBC article. There are white people who think Donald Trump is wrong.
Yeah. So the one of the articles you sent, the FBI's data statistics says 10 white cities are more dangerous than DC, and I think the worst here is Kalamazoo in Minnesota or Michigan.
Kalamazoo. Oh, I'm sorry. I Let me bring it up right quick. But the bottom line is DC for its size is high crime. It does need to be cleaned up. I don't think Donald Trump is I think he's being a little over the top, but um, I also think he's trying to figure out how he can roll this out into bigger cities. So let's see, Kalamazoo, Michigan. I think that Trump and others, I think they want to racialize crime, which is something we don't need to go into now, but America has a history of doing that. So, like I said, interest convergence. There are a lot of things. Donald Trump is right because, my people shouldn't be attacked. But then, should your people be out at 3 in the morning in places they know are dangerous? Um, that's a problem. Why were y'all out? Still there, Charles?
Hear me? Hello?
Oh, you're back. Like I
I
said, there's a
could
lot
hear you.
of uh,
I could hear you. So I wanted to ask why do Americans why do they work that late? I mean, I hear many of these stories of people getting mugged at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. What are people doing outside of their house that late?
um I have yet to understand. I mean, it's kind of like you should be able to be out anytime you want, but you also know there are places you shouldn't be. Interest convergence.
Mm. Has Trump tried to
DC
racialize
DC
this is crime? Has he tried to
Well,
racialize
let
this
me
is
let
crime?
me say this. DC does have a crime problem. The crime is coming down. Excuse me. And I don't have a problem with what Trump is doing.
Okay, which is good.
Right. But I think that the way the law works, he's not going to be able to complete the job. 3 days, 30 days, there are limits unless Congress approves.
Mm,
If you're going to ask me why crime is so high in America, it tends to be in big cities. And America has a history of putting poor people cramped in small spaces.
mm,
The ghetto, these people are packed into a place. And, if it's hard for me to describe, um, but if you live in basically a brick cage, it's going to be a little bit of a pressure cooker. And then you
mm.
get to raise uh, kids or, have a family over generations and you're poor. There are whole books written about this, and I'm surprised you don't know this. DC is one of the better cities, but black people don't live in like DuPont Circle. They live out in Anacostia. It's a historical thing.
Mm.
There are ghettos in the capital, and the
That's
crime is
strange.
better.
That's
But
that's strange
I
to me.
guess my question would be, why did you ever have a ghetto in the nation's capital in the first place?
Yeah, and I think that's part of my question. That's where I was getting at. Why would you have a ghetto in the nation's capital?
Well, but Charles, this is like 100-year-old problem. You can't ask in the now. It's been that way since the end of the Civil War.
So why hasn't
That
any
wasn't
government
cleaned
done
up.
anything to fix it? Why hasn't anybody done anything about it? Obama,
Be-
Biden.
um, or Lincoln, or this is literally not. It's a, um, DC was founded shortly, like I can't remember the exact founding, but this is something that's been going on for 150 years. So Biden can't solve it. Trump can't solve it. Um, you
Are you
can't solve
saying
something.
are you saying this is an intractable problem that doesn't have a solution?
No, I'm saying it's not going to be 150-year-old problem is not going to be cleaned up by Trump. This
Why not?
problem okay, listen to what I'm saying. You do not clean up a festering sore that's been around for 150 years in 4 years,
So how long do you think that you figure is sufficient to clean it up?
150 years.
Really?
Well, you laugh.
Really? Really?
Yep.
The progress must be so slow.
No, the progress must be so democratic.
150
Okay,
years to
I'm
something
not
like that?
sure. I'm not sure why you left. Do you understand how the United States works? You got to get buy-in. Part of the problem is that Trump has no clue what the problem is, let alone how to solve it.
What if he
Okay,
had
you
a
don't.
clue? What if he
I'm
had a
sorry.
clue? Which
You're
state?
getting mighty echoey. Your either it's me or you.
What
Can you
if
clean
Trump
up
had
your
a
mic?
clue? Okay, 1 minute.
I'm sorry. What? What is Trump?
Is it better now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
way better.
So I said, what if Trump had a clue? Would it still take 150 years to clean up the mess?
Well, let me ask you a question. It took 150 years to get this way. Do you think Trump can solve it? Because honestly, the way you love logic, if it were a simple problem, um, would it take 150 years of logic to solve it?
No, I just think
It's not a simple problem.
I think it takes commitment to fixing the problem.
I think you don't understand. Well, I love what you just said. America has never been committed to making the ghetto better.
I guess so.
And it's a whole nother show. Um, I will say that, in my opinion, black people haven't really. Glenn Lowry actually is right about one thing. America's not going to save black people. White people aren't going to save black people. That's the one thing Glenn Lowry gets right.
So, given that reality, what are black people doing about that?
Do black people run the country, Charles?
Oh, come on, Stanley.
No,
You
no,
just
no.
said
It's a nope.
okay,
It's an
okay,
honest
okay, okay.
question
So,
because
so
if see, this is where you and I sometimes disagree. If black
we don't,
people ran
we
this country,
don't. There's
Charles,
no point of
if black
disagreement. That
people ran the country, do you think there would still be a problem?
Obama
Now,
ran the country.
this is literally a question to you. If black people ran the United States, do you think there would be a black problem?
Yes.
Well, now I'm curious. And I thought I heard you say something about Obama.
Yeah, that was just a snide comment,
Okay,
but
so you literally think one black president
no,
can
that
allow, okay, well
that
then
that
help
was
me
a
out
snide.
here.
That was a snide comment.
Oh, well,
But
you know what? Snipe doesn't solve problems either.
yeah, So my point is, you're saying it requires black people to be in power to solve this problem, but I don't think so. It
No,
would
that's
it
not
would
what I'm
help,
saying
it
at
would
all.
facilitate it.
Stop put no, that's not what I'm saying.
So what did you say?
What I'm saying, if you'll allow me,
Mm.
black people are kind of riders on this demographic. Um, Aramio Frimpong, do you remember him?
Yeah, I do.
He said we need better white people.
What about better black people?
I'm sorry, what?
What about better black people?
14% versus 16%, 60%. You tell me. Um, Black people do not affect this country the way the racists.
How how are better
Okay,
white
no, no,
people?
no, no, no.
No, no,
I literally live here, Charles, and we always have this argument. It is a white country. I agree with that. It is a white man's country. I agree with that. And what I always hear is, oh, the white men who live in this country blame everything on a very uh we control the culture maybe. But dude, black people have never controlled the United States.
so
Where the
I have
honestly, no, 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 no. Where do people like you specifically think that black people ever control this country? If there's
never
a problem,
I
if
never
there is a problem, white people have controlled the country from day one. If there's a problem, they like to place blame. And I don't mean they as in, I mean historically.
okay, so
And
you get
it's absolutely ridiculous for Trump to come into DC and all of a sudden want to control. There are historical problems with the ghetto and where black people live and the crime.
but
And
I don't understand.
what I do get is why can't we fix it? Well, it should have been fixed probably around 1789.
Okay, so
And
Stanley,
we live with bad decisions.
Stanley, you said that we need better white people to fix the problem.
Yes.
Essentially saying, okay,
Now tell me
now,
where I'm wrong with that. I said it and I meant it.
now Trump is a white man, literally the president, and
Okay,
he's trying to
Charles,
fix the
you
problem.
don't quite get the historical argument, do you? Trump is just Trump is one man. I'm talking historical white people. I mean from day one. Trump is just what, the 47th president? He's just one little man and not a very smart man.
So you
I,
think that
I
he cannot
no, what I think is you don't get my argument. It was tore up from the floor up is my argument.
okay, so
You
suppose
don't fix 250 years to 400 years. You don't fix it with the Trump administration. Trump, to give Trump some credit, he's just coping.
okay, so how does better white people stop the crime in DC?
They
What
don't.
they don't? I thought you needed better white
No,
people to fix the
no,
problem.
Charles. Tell me how you pass a law and fix 250 years of history. Can't
So
be
you're
done.
essentially saying there is no solution to this problem. That
No.
the people
I'm
who want
literally saying that I'm
the
literally
people
saying there's
staff
no
are.
solution. There's no what I'm saying, there's no quick fix. That's what I'm saying.
So what is the fix? It doesn't have to be quick. What
Um,
is the fix?
Read your Edmund Burke. It is going to be a long, slow recovery. You don't fix a historical problem with a quick fix.
So, Stanley, you know, I am more, I have been more amenable to your point of view and maybe the left's point of view for the past few months, right? But this line of thinking is making me wonder because I look at the man who mugged or the person who mugged the Doge staffer, and I'm asking how exactly is not having better white people made him do that particular act? How did it make him um stop someone's car and try to steal their stuff, shoot someone, beat someone up, so on
Okay,
and so
you're talking
forth?
about the person who perpetrated the crime or the victim?
The person who perpetrated the crime, where does
So
his
you
responsibility?
really think I should understand that?
You should have some insight.
Why would I have insight into a carjacker, Charles? You need to help me with this.
Oh my. Okay, we've agreed that crime is a problem in DC, right? And you said the reason why crime is a problem is because of historical issues. But crime is a function of individual actions, someone choosing to do something terrible. Now we can agree the systemic issues and the confounding factors, but it still needs a human being with agency to act. So I'm asking, where does the responsibility of that person, whom
So
history has acted upon?
you li- well, let me. You know what? You love logic. So what I need you to do, you asked me um about some carjacker. I need you to connect those logical dots. And I will also ask you, do you actually understand how logic works? You want to ask me about a crime. Um because I suspect that I know why you ask this, but I need you to connect the dots for me. Why would I know about a carjacking um to a Doge employee of Donald Trump? Why would I have insight? Help me here.
I said, where does his responsibility, the
Okay,
person
I
who
heard what you said, Charles. What I'm asking you to do is be logical and connect the dots.
connect what dots?
You asked me about crime in DC or the Doge crime specifically. Why would you think I would know? What can we do about it, Charles? I thought I heard you ask me this. I have no clue. Um,
So you
help
have no
me here.
clue about you have no
No,
clue about solution.
absolutely I don't. And
You
I'm
have no
trying
clue
to
about
figure
solutions. So
I
you have
no
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 clue
no,
about
Charles. I'm trying to be logical. Why would you think I would know? Connect the dots. That's what I'm asking you to do. Why would you even ask me the question? How would I know?
oh boy.
Oh yeah, oh boy. I suspect I suspect that I know why.
So
I present you a historical problem, but let's go back to the here and now. Why would I know about carjackings? I'm interested.
I don't understand your question. I
Yeah,
think
because it
I
defies the logic. It
no,
defies the very
no.
logic that you
I did
profess
not
to
ask
love.
you, did, Stanley. I did not ask you about carjackings. I said, where does the responsibility of the person who committed the crime, where does
And
it lie?
again, how would I know?
Okay.
You're asking me where the responsibility lies for an individual crime. I don't know with the individual. And where you want to go, at least I suspect, is why would he commit the crime? Dude, logic doesn't work that way. Logic does not apply to culture. Culture isn't a logical problem.
Okay,
Well, I'm sorry you don't get it, but the bottom line is I can't explain why someone would carjack. The law doesn't explain. Who knows? Now, you can go back and, try and theorize, but there's literally no logical reason for why people commit crimes.
okay.
Well, you're the logical god. You love logic. Do you have a theory?
I don't.
Right. Well, I live here and I don't. So I guess we've come to a conclusion that um your guess is as good as mine. But I can give you historical theories.
What's the point?
Um there is none other than why do we wonder? We know crime is a problem. We kind of have a way to deter it. There are some historical problems. Like I said, America, if nothing else, it tends to ignore history. Um, but it also let me give you a let me give you a good example. I was listening to a YouTube show, and I hear a lot of YouTube shows, black oriented. Well, black people, single mother problem. We know that kids, some of the sociological problems is because, hey, there are a lot of single mothers. Well, now I'm trying to apply logic to it. Actually, I don't, but I guess you would want to. Um, we know why something happened. We know about crime. We know that, single parent homes, single mother homes, it trends towards crime. It doesn't cause it, but there are correlations. You you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, how do we solve it? And it's a loaded question. How do we solve this in the United States? How do we solve the single mother? We know single mothers, are overwhelmed. Kids from single parent homes, single mother homes specifically, tend to not do as well. How do we solve it, Charles?
I don't know. How do you?
Well, no one does. Well, and see, this is part of the problem. We know why we're here. How do we get out from here? I find one of the things, and I honestly have thought about this, Charles. We know um, what the president is, present. How do we solve it? We know how we got here. We have theories, we have correlations. What I never hear from a Glenn Lowry or pretty much anyone. How do we know we got a bunch of single mothers? We know we have a bunch of kids. We know there are problems. How do we solve it?
You've never heard
If
Glenn Lab.
the answer is get married, do all this stuff, that's how to solve the future. No one's dealing with the now. And it's a huge problem that even a Glenn Lowry never addresses. They don't ever tell you. They always want to talk about the past. They always want to talk about the solution. No one ever talks about what do we do now.
Well, they say the best time to plant a tree 20 years ago, and the next best time is now. So the future is tomorrow. You can start today.
Okay, love the poetry. We don't fix now. We know how we got here. We know how to
That's
fix
what I
it, but
just said. I
the
said
pragmatism, there are no pragmatists. And
so.
to his credit, I think Donald Trump is a little bit more of a pragmatist. He thinks shutting down Washington D.C., being more authoritarian, is a now solution. We lock them all up. We drill, baby, drill. Um, Donald Trump actually has some solutions for now, which are abhorrent, but um, and that's kind of a different conversation too. Um, you don't solve the crime; you send tanks, and Donald Trump is coping.
Okay, so I think it's been a good one. Um, though the conversation
Has
took
it been a
a
productive one?
it took a detour into some
Well,
some
I know you think I'm just kind of haywire here, but you stepped into a landmine. America, the way we're solving problems now, um, I kind of think that Donald Trump has an idea, and no, I'm not agreeing with it. What I'm regretting is hindsight is 2020. We probably should have known, and quite frankly, the Democrats are in between a rock and a hard place. Um, this is going to play out, and I kind of wonder if it's a different show. But what's happening in DC, I think, is unavoidable, and in a way,
yeah.
Donald Trump, I think America was inevitably going to be Donald Trump,
Okay.
and you know what? He's going to be our mistake, and we will grow from Donald Trump. I know you don't understand where I'm going. It's a little metaphysical, but logic doesn't always solve problems. I think
I
logic
never,
is good
I
for
never claimed
discovering problems.
I never claimed it did solve problems, but anyway.
No,
Uh,
logic doesn't solve. See, this is the other thing. Culture defies logic all the time, and
everything
sometimes I
has
wonder if you realize this. You don't solve cultural problems with logic. Logic doesn't apply, and I look forward to your Substack.
anyway, Stanley, thank you so much for the show tonight.
All right.
I think this would be a good place to draw it to a close. Hopefully, the Trump doesn't create more problems.
You know what? That's the other thing. Um, America will survive Trump, and hopefully the lessons learned. We're good at that.
Yeah. All
Talk
right,
to you
Stan.
later.
Yeah.